Top of the top, got a good audio coming through for the men specifically. Women, welcome to listen in, tune in. You could refer it to a man in your life that's important to you. And this is a post Valentine's Day for some of the fellas who may not have had a significant other. So got some good content just to get you thinking and your blood flowing. And then after we're going to, discuss some things, ask ourselves some questions, and, just put some encouragement in the atmosphere, put some optimism, some positivity in the atmosphere. So without further ado, we're going to get started. It's not going to be a song today, beginning. It's going to be a poem. Yeah, a poem by Paul Harvey. But I feel like it's very significant for the men if you want to apply it to, your life from your own experience. And in regard to the story, the farmer we're referring to is the man in life and everything we got to go through. So without further ado, we're going to get it rolling.
I want to say Tim. I'm Jack Black. Oh, that's it. Yeah. I'm not Jack Black.
Oliver, this is...
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, and dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon and then pain him from tractor back, put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to split the broken leg of a meadowlark. So God made a farmer. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners, somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk, somebody who'd bale a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
Do not start your business in 2025 without knowing these 3 lessons. Trust me, I learned the hard way, and back then I didn't have...
So, building off of the piece we played at the beginning of the audio, the farmer we're referring to as the man. And the reason I felt it necessary to make a post-Valentine's Day video is because the anticipation leading up to the date, and as a man, each one of us is our own universe. How we conduct ourselves with our women is different. also what you believe to be true in your life is true to you and true in your experience. So you would take that information and do what you will. But that's just the premise of where we're going in the discussion. And so leading up to the anticipation of Valentine's Day and just the regular dynamic within male and female relations, it's very easy for the man to feel overwhelmed, underappreciated, discouraged, um, not acknowledged, not recognized, not praised in any way, not celebrated. And even if things are ideal to you currently, that's still a reality. Meaning, just because your significant other isn't overtly, you know, ungrateful or snotty or inconsiderate, that doesn't mean that just because somebody tells you thank you or just because someone says they appreciate you doesn't necessarily make it legitimate in its entirety. Meaning, they could acknowledge, you know, they need to appreciate you or they want to appreciate you. But really, as a man, you look at actions to determine, you know, how people actually are thinking and feeling. So words, you take it with a grain of salt. But the point being is when someone is grateful for you, when somebody appreciates you, it's rather easy to tell because they will acknowledge they may not have all the resources. They may not have all the time, all the energy, but they do the best they can. And they are as earnest as they can be in trying to appreciate you, trying to celebrate you, and also trying to make you happy because it's not a one-way street. But for a lot of men, it is. Just because the regular dynamic, what you believe to be is true. So, meaning if you courted your significant other, your wife, girlfriend, maybe your lady friend, by chasing or by force, and also you're looking to sustain this relationship long term, for whatever reason, you've gotten used to doing yourself a disservice. You've gotten used to treating yourself as a doormat and putting yourself last. Why do we say this? Because you can't be anything of significance or of value to anyone if you're not that to yourself first. And when you're forcing things and when you're chasing an individual, a feeling, a circumstance, it's easy to neglect yourself or neglect your foundation or what's gotten you results or what's gotten you to where you are. So there's a quote that's famous. A man isn't a man is half a man without a woman, but it's not to be misinterpreted. That's not to go out and get any woman and get anything just because, you know, you may have someone who's on the borderline of your life or playing the 1 foot in, 1 foot out game and weaponizing their presence or their position in your life. And as a man at all times, even when things are ideal, when things are, you know, perfect, when things aren't ideal, when things are, you could deem it not where you want to be. I don't want to say bad because it's all about perspective. Regardless, inside of your mind has to be your paradise. You have to cultivate your paradise all the time, whatever time of year, whatever the agenda is, the objective is for you. And also, too, as men, I think getting away from doing everything for everyone else or neglecting ourselves, because sometimes we'll willingly accept an excessive workload when we don't have to. And we could say we do it for, internal reasons, but there's a small part in the back of your brain that really craves acknowledgement and recognition and praise. Also, too, for the work you do and the sacrifices that you make. So let's not fool ourselves in saying that when we push ourselves or we try to change our reality, when we go for things higher, that we're not trying to be great and we're not trying to be acknowledged and trying to get all the things that comes with that. But pleading to another person or prioritizing another person being present or being in a certain state in your life is too limited of a space for a man to have to operate in. And looking at society, looking at things, the way things are structured, and since the beginning of time, men slowly, gradually have strayed away from his throne by doing this, going outside of ourselves, seeking happiness or peace for what we give ourselves anyway. And you have to give yourself permission to even do yourself a disservice. So when you really analyze your actions and your thoughts in depth, sometimes it's easy to get discouraged because you didn't know any better and you weren't aware of your power. But you can instantly go to work and remedying this process or this habit. So no matter wherever you are, there you are. But also remember that you can start instantaneously and you will get results correlated with your enthusiasm and the frequency of your desire. So how strong it is and how potent it is will factor in and will also influence and impress the environment. So just being encouraged. And also, once you get in a space as a man, prioritizing self-sufficiency, you're going to want to refine different areas because you're not going to want to be self-sufficient in one space. There's a lot of things that people require, quote unquote, men to have. That doesn't necessarily dictate a man. But really, a man is what he thinks himself to be, truly. And he conducts himself as such. But listening to what a man is from, a delusional female, a lot of the times that's where we've got our definition of upright men. And a lot of times it's easy when you're comfortable or you're neglecting to do the work or to make the sacrifices to look at upright men, successful men, or men that may have some of the things that you want or it may be some of the places you desire to be, and to look at them, I don't want to say haughty eyes because you're not looking at them like you're better than them, but in a way you are, because you automatically project the feeling that they think they're better than you because you neglect to think highly of yourself. So even though you're not looking at them with haughty eyes in a way, you are, because you're not giving them a fair opportunity to even express or show you what they're made of because of how you feel internally. And this is referring to men. I'm just speaking of upright men. Um, Materialism. Let's completely get away from materialism, though it factors in society. Um, Materialism doesn't determine or make a man. It complements and adds to the man, but what the man is internal, and it's the results of his thinking. So a lot of the times we may disregard or be negative towards people who may be unapologetic in their approach to their success, and they found their niche and how they have to defend themselves mentally and energetically. We think of it as them having a snotty attitude, but in actuality, in order for them to even be in a position to help us, once we put our pride aside and to do the things they need to do, they have to really draw the line in the sand in order to create a sense of balance. So I like to say a man is one who is unapologetically what he is and what he decides to be, and also is not forcing or intrusive about that philosophy or that ideology upon other people. So self-sufficient in how he thinks of himself and his responsibility for himself to get the things he needs to get done, and also just to make sure he is happy and competent in every aspect. When you begin to accomplish things that may have taken a while or may have discouraged you in the past, you automatically get stronger and you crave more, but you get more lighthearted, meaning you understand the battle and the uphill climb it takes to get yourself in a mental space to accomplish the things you need to accomplish. So moving forward from that, building on that, you're not looking to treat anybody else uh, as if they're beneath you. Treat any other man rather as if they're beneath you. You're not looking to hate on any other man. You're not looking to discourage or talk down on any other man, especially because you understand that in actuality, we all need each other, right? And though we can say, oh, we don't because each one of us is our own universe. We do. I say we do in the grand scheme of things because, right? Let's consider the women for a second. If it wasn't for other men doing what they do, what I do, what you do wouldn't be as unique and as significant. Why do you say that? Because why look east to west in the space of covetousness or envy when we're cultivating being self-sufficient? And if we're being the best we can be, we're going to feel the best we can be. And also we're going to create that and project that. And our experience is gonna modify or match or mirror that feeling, mirror those thoughts. So we'll get the results from our thinking or get the results from the work that we're putting in. And wrestling with your thoughts too. Also understanding that, especially when you're looking to completely reverse some of your habits, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna seem like you're wrestling, but literally, that's what it is. Your ego wants you to be comfortable. Your ego doesn't care about you succeeding as much as you would think, because your ego would be the one supplying the excuses as to why you didn't or why you couldn't. Also, so a lot of times I have real great discussions with men of all different ages. I'm 27, by the way, but I would say I'm not gonna refer this J Cole bar because Kendrick violated, but it was the one where he said dead in the middle of two generations, little bro and big bro, all at once, right? That's where you are as a man, right? Because no matter your age, it's crazy to think. It's somebody younger than you that has more money than you. It's somebody older than you that has less more money than you. It's somebody younger than you that has more status than you. It's somebody older than you that has less status than you. That doesn't dictate or entitle you to act or conduct yourself in a certain way or treat others in a certain way. That's just a sense of balance to not be too high or to be too low. And that's before even way before we were even born or thought of. This is still currently today, but we're just speaking in regard to wealth. Also, too, considering that this is specifically for men, we gotta change and revise our relationship with money, how we use money. Um, Considering that it's a lot of bloodshed over money, a lot of bloodshed over money. It's a lot of unnecessary hurt over money. It's a lot of um, nasty things said over money. But it's a tool, and it's a tool that comes as a result of your thinking and a result of the energy you're putting out. And so when you're in a space of impersonal love, also accepting and acknowledging, that there's the duality sense. So there's love, there's the absence of love, there's light, there's the absence of light. Where taking and compounding all this and still choosing impersonal love, that's where you're gonna get in a space where you start to unlock a lot of things in your life in a lot of different areas. How does this apply to the discussion with Valentine's Day? Just because as a man, once you get callous to people trying to hurt you and people trying to provoke you with words, you become unbeatable, untouchable. And it's tough taking a higher road, but it's not tough considering what you get in the access that you gain. Also, too, the revelation that you give and get, because you unlock yourself from a space to what you're familiar with. For me, it happened by shutting off or completely abandoning a familiar environment for me, a familiar feeling. And due to association, it was best for me to find a new space. Also, too, it was significant with the times, fitting to the times rather, to just get some space and start anew. Um, it was done with a death, a very significant death, and instead of wanting to die myself, I chose to build off of that and create a legacy for people to keep building and to even in death be able to build. So the discussion and the well-being of men generally in the world is just a little different for me, just because in regards to personally or your personal sphere, once you master your space, once you get dominion over your space, you get access to what you need. You get an abundance thereof. But then it gets to a space where you really sincerely want to help others, because you can conduct yourself and you can operate and exist in a space to where others others may operate out of a sense of lack. But also too, that doesn't mean that you just want to stand by and let the dead, be dead. Or not let the dead be dead. I should say let the dead rot. That's more appropriate. But what do I mean by let the dead rot? Misery loves company. So it's a lot of hurt people out here trying to hurt more people, and they disguise it as a finesse kind of game, or like they getting over, or like they have a great picture or image they're working towards. But really, it's a hunk of junk in real time. And it's crazy how there's a lot of grown individuals that's seen many moons, very immature, uh, very entitled, very negative, just in the space of conducting and coexisting with other men. Cool thing about being little bro and big bro all at once is being a peacemaker, because people get to a space where they don't understand you, and they people watch you a lot more than you think. They know exactly what you got. A lot of times people pocket watch you, and they'll come up to you and try to extract information out of you, but it's not necessarily and also too, you'll be outwardly you'll be definitely copied for sure once you get in the space where you're just helping people unapologetically, and you're not looking for a reward, because you get your reward in what you're doing. You're gonna get into that space of influence where people are gonna be in denial, but the whole time they match it with you, and they try to say, no, I've been had this whole time. You can see the tag. And the good part about this energy is you don't feel the need to acknowledge it, or always exploit that, because also too, not a lot of people have had uh, the amount of influence to where they dealt with something like that, to where they can actually create a ripple effect, and it can affect multiple people in real time. So when you speaking of alchemy and metaphysics and mentalism, just with general or like average men that maybe you're familiar with, please don't be surprised when they start looking at you crazy, because this is what's forbidden, and this is what we're not taught. We're taught to be book smart, and really that we have to work and strain for everything that we create. But in actuality, we're always creating, right? And so as a man, understanding you can create what you need ideally as a man, you can get it rapidly. That is crazy. In 20, 24 years, right? 24 years. I'm 27. 24 years. I procrastinated. I wasted time. I was negative. I was stagnant. I had nothing, absolutely nothing done. 3 years of being uncomfortable and having things changed and stripped away from you. And really, I would say coming from the ground up, the amount of things that I get done regularly is crazy considering what I used to do. And I'm just so grateful for the growth. But also, too, it's like once you get familiar with this stuff, you know that, limitation isn't a thing. you know, everything is possible once you're in this space. And it's just important for us men to always encourage each other, right? Because we always on the defensive wherever we go. Even when we handling business and we interacting with others and having transactions with others, we still gotta conduct ourselves as men first. And the current climate, they they want us to self sabotage and self destruct and hurt each other. And the plan and the agenda has been very successful for multiple factors, but this subject is women, right? Because a lot of times people snap out eventually, and everybody looking crazy whole time. This person has been crying for help in different ways for a long time, and we can't keep disregarded or downplaying mental health for men or women, but especially men because you gotta understand you're trying to convince a God he isn't a God and trying to place something lesser of him on him and actually convicted about what you're doing. And you gotta understand it's unnatural. It feels unnatural, but the sad part is they got a lot of people working toward and very comfortable being unnatural and going out of their way to create unnatural circumstances in order to be comfortable or to get a specific person or a specific circumstance, a specific end result. But the end result and the finality of the situation is becoming fatal because it's bloodshed and people getting hurt. We got men killing women, when men killing. It's a uptick in men killing kids and killing their offspring now because naturally these people think about how messed up your thinking has to be where you'll say, well, I killed her. Might as well kill the offspring because that's what some of these people thinking. Other than that, it's no reason that you're killing the whole family. Because if it was just this person, regardless, it's not right because you're not going to be able to raise your kids. But regardless, if it was just that individual who was hindering, what you had to do, or who was provoking you, or who wanted to hurt you, or make you go crazy, that the kids didn't ask to come into this world. So bringing harm on them, it's sad to really think and consider like the space some of these individuals were in when they made these decisions, and we can't keep downplaying it or acting like it's not there or condoning it or laughing in it. Like the comment section, um, the comment section is really, really, really contributing to the grave at a rapid rate, and from the land of the living, but also too from the land of the living. Some people are writing out their fate. But just in general, it's like it's not funny it's not funny anyway, but it's definitely not funny when it happens to the individual who's making these comments or who's taking it so lightheartedly. And it's also too in regard to the human family, brother. It's just not cool. Like who wants to see somebody else get hurt? In any regard, whether people having a disagreement, whatever it is. It's like even now knockout videos and different things I see. Sometimes it's hard to watch the ending. Like just because you don't want to see like anybody you know in a space like they don't want to be in. But again, this is specifically for men, but we gotta take care of ourselves in our private lives before we call ourselves embarking on an intimate life. And then also too, we have to come up with a system for our intimate life or how we'll conduct ourselves in our intimate lives, and stop thinking when you're with another individual or a significant other, a wife, girlfriend, whatever the case may be. Stop thinking from the sense of we in regard to what's best, yes, and outward action, yes. But we in regard to mental in regard to mental and action and intent, you shoot yourself in the foot and you're creating and cultivating your hell by even allowing or condoning, that kind of thing. Because the dynamic between men and women isn't the same anyway. Meaning, she's getting a lot more looks for being courted than the man could ever. But also, too, a lot of men are in jail, and there's a lot of bloodshed over this too, over just that factor that a woman can step out the house and replace her situation at the drop of a dime. But that's not to discredit the man. That doesn't mean he's incapable or incompetent in any regard. It's just natural. It's just law, the way it is. But also too, you gotta understand, even with that, the women have gotten to a space of entitlement to where they feel like they don't even gotta brush their teeth, wash their face, or wash when they wake up. When they come out, like regular manners and regular respect, general respect, they feel like they don't have to have, all because of what they're able to get away with regularly. Because individuals are so possessive and so afraid of being alone or living in solitude or creating a healthy space of solitude and creating a happy space of being alone. And I hope, nobody looks at the views on these videos and gets discouraged or thinks that the message or the content is illegitimate, because that's not the truth. But also you gotta understand what's best for you isn't condoned or pushed by the machine. So let's acknowledge that, one, and also two, they're diluting a lot of the good information, these days. But just generally for men, one, they're
trying to confuse the idea or the definition of what a man is, but also to, if you're a man or identify as a man, be the best man you could be. And I think that's the perfect way to end.